Let's be honest, is there an area in your life, your finance, relationships, career, where it feels like you're just beating your head against a wall? You dedicate yourself, you study, you apply what you learn, but the results just don't seem to match the effort you're putting in. It's as if there's an invisible force holding you back, keeping you stuck in a frustrating cycle of almost there. And that feeling of not knowing why is one of the worst feelings in the world. And what if I told you that the problem isn't your effort, the market, or a lack of luck? What if I told you there's a secret mental habit operating silently on your autopilot that is actively sabotaging your results? It's a pattern so subtle and constant that most people go their entire lives without ever even noticing it. It's not about what you do, but about an invisible mechanism that happens before you take any action at all. Get ready, because what we're about to uncover here goes against almost everything we've been taught about success and hard work. We are going to expose this silent saboteur and hand you the key to shut it down for good. By the end of our conversation, you will not only understand the root cause of your stagnation, but you will hold the power to begin sculpting a new reality, one that's aligned with what you truly desire. Believe me, the power was never out there. You know, that deep intuition that we are so much more than just a collection of cells. Well, it seems the tables are turning. We grew up hearing that the brain was the great producer of our existence, the big boss behind everything. But what if I told you it's more like an ultra-advanced biological antenna? Instead of creating the signal, it merely picks up a consciousness that already permeates everything, coming from a vast, universal field of information. Think of it like a sophisticated radio. The music isn't inside the device. It travels through the air as a vibration, a frequency. The radio just tunes into the station you choose to listen to. In the same way, universal consciousness transmits infinite realities and potentials. Your brain is the tool that tunes into one of these stations, and the clarity of that tuning defines the melody of your life. You aren't the radio, you are the DJ. This simple shift in perspective is revolutionary, don't you think? If we are not the source but the tuners, it gives us back an extraordinary power. It means the quality of our reception and our signal depends directly on what we cultivate in our minds. What do you think happens when we start to deliberately choose which frequency of consciousness we want to access? That's where our transformation truly begins. If in our last talk we understood that we are the antenna, now the conversation gets even more serious and exciting. Imagine your consciousness as a movie projector and the world out there is the big screen. The reality you experience, my friend, is not the cause of everything, but rather the final projection of a movie that's running inside of you. Matter, everything you can touch and see, is merely the visible effect of an invisible script. And what is this internal movie made of? It's made of your most deep-seated beliefs, your thought patterns, and most importantly, your dominant emotional vibration. Every thought emits a frequency into the universal field, like a subtle but powerful instruction. Your subconscious acts as the director of this production, using the script you hand it every single day, whether you're aware of it or not. The million-dollar question is, have you been reading your own script? This leads us to a staggering truth. Matter is, in essence, information and energy that have condensed, obeying a pre-existing pattern. Your reality is a faithful mirror, not the original image. Understanding this on a deep level takes you out of the passenger seat and puts you behind the wheel. You stop being a victim of circumstances and start asking yourself what kind of projection you are emitting. And if we have the ability to change the movie, what does that make us exactly? The answer to that lingering question is, it makes us a co-creator. Let that word resonate for a moment. We are not mere spectators in the audience of life watching a movie that's already been finalized. We are, in fact, the co-directors and co-writers in the middle of production. Your reality isn't something that happens to you. It's a work of art that responds dynamically to your energy and your thoughts. You are, at every second, on the film set of your own creation. Now, how does this magic work? Think of your attention and your focus as a powerful magnifying glass concentrating sunlight. Wherever you point that lens, the energy intensifies and matter responds. The universal laws are the mechanism behind this. They are impersonal, precise, and infallible. They don't judge whether your request is good or bad. They simply take the mold provided by your mental and emotional focus and begin the process of manifestation. This is liberating and, let's be honest, a little bit terrifying, isn't it? Because it places us as the responsible protagonists of our own story. Energy flows where attention goes. If your focus is on scarcity and problems, guess which seed the universal laws will water. And the most fascinating part of all this is that it's no longer just talk for esoteric circles. Modern science is, more and more, finally putting a name to these phenomena. And what names is science using to describe these ideas? The main one comes from quantum physics. That famous experiment where a particle only defines itself when an observer is looking turn the scientific world upside down. It basically confirms that reality at its most fundamental level is a field of pure potential. The consciousness of the observer is the factor that collapses all that energy into a defined experience, into the matter we know. Sound familiar? But it doesn't stop there. Neuroscience, with the discovery of neuroplasticity, proves that our brain isn't fixed. It physically reconstructs itself based on our thoughts and habits. Books like The Brain That Changes Itself by Norman Doidge are a goldmine on this topic. Add to that epigenetics, which shows how our mental states can activate or deactivate genes. That's right, your mind is literally sculpting your brain and influencing your body. What we are witnessing, my friend, is a historic moment. Science, with its technical and rigorous language, is just rediscovering the universal laws that spiritual traditions have been teaching for millennia. The notion that thought is a creative force is no longer mysticism. It has become a serious field of study. And if our mind holds all this power to influence matter and our own biology, it raises an extremely practical question. The practical question is this: if your mind is a fertile garden with the power to create anything, you can't just let the weeds grow wild, can you? This is where the crucial concept of mental hygiene comes in. Just as you take care of your body's hygiene every day, it is vital to cultivate the habit of cleaning your mind. This means becoming the conscious guardian of your mental gates, choosing wisely what comes in, what stays, and what must be discarded. In practice, this mental hygiene is an active exercise in directing your attention. It means stopping the feed to the thought loop focused on fear, scarcity, and conflict, which is so common in our society. Instead, you consciously turn your focus toward principles of order, beauty, and harmony. Every time you make this choice, you are raising your vibration and sending new programming to your subconscious, the faithful executor of your habits. This isn't about naive, positive thinking, but about a deep and intelligent realignment. It is the most important work anyone can do to catalyze their own transformation. After all, if there is a creative intelligence organizing everything from the galaxies to the beating of your heart, wouldn't it make more sense to align our minds with the principles of that same intelligence? This leads us to rethink the very idea we have about the creative force of the universe. This creative force, which so many of us learn to call God, perhaps needs a new framework. Forget the image of a distant being sitting on a throne to judge us. The proposal here is to see God as the immanent creative principle, the living intelligence that pulses in every atom and organizes the galaxies. It is the universal consciousness expressing itself through everything that exists, including you. It is not something separate from us, but the very essence of life itself. And this principle doesn't operate on whims, favoritism, or bargains, but rather through universal laws that are as precise and impersonal as the law of gravity. The universal field responds to vibration and alignment, not to empty words. It's a perfectly ordered and just system. Your mind, by thinking and feeling, is constantly dialoguing with these laws, setting them in motion. You are already part of the conversation. The question is whether you are doing it consciously. If God is the infinite ocean of creation, then each of us is a conscious drop of that ocean, containing its entire essence and potential. This is why the term co-creator is so accurate. We don't create from scratch, but we use the same principle that originated us to shape our experience. And when an individual truly understands and applies this, what happens to their life? And what happens when a sufficient number of people start to do the same? The answer to that question is where the magic happens. True transformation begins. On a personal level, the individual stops fighting with the effects and starts operating directly on the cause of their problem. Most of us spend our lives trying to fix or manipulate matter, the physical world, without understanding that it is just the reflection in the mirror. To change the reflection, my friend, you don't mess with the mirror. You change the object being reflected. Now let's take this to a collective scale. The world's great problems, like violence and scarcity, are just symptoms of a global consciousness focused on fear and separation. It's no use just fighting the symptom without curing the disease. Lasting social change only occurs when a sufficient number of people raise their vibration and their thought patterns. This critical mass creates a new resonance in the field, making the old patterns simply obsolete. This puts the responsibility for transforming the world back into our hands, not as a burden, but as our greatest opportunity. Every co-creator who awakens and aligns their mind with principles of unity and harmony is a beacon of light in this shift. The most powerful revolution is not external, it's internal. But amid the chaos and noise of daily life, how can we find the silence necessary to do this fine-tuning? The answer to the how is simpler than you might think. The primary tool for this fine-tuning is meditation. Think of it not as something mystical or difficult, but as the ultimate mental hygiene. It is the training for your brain to stop being a radio full of static, jumping from station to station, and to become a clear receiver. It is a sacred time you give yourself to silence the noise and reconnect with your true essence. Through meditation, you train your attention to detach from the incessant flow of thoughts. It is in this space of silence that you have the chance to access the universal field of pure potentiality. It's as if, for a few minutes, you turn off the chaotic Wi-Fi signal of your mind and connect directly to the main network of universal consciousness, the source of all ideas and solutions. This daily practice isn't just about relaxing, it's about reclaiming your power. It reminds you in a practical way that you are not your thoughts, but the consciousness that observes them. It is the two-way street that allows you to reconnect with your true nature as a co-creator. The transformation begins when you, silently, decide to tune into the highest frequency that exists within yourself. We've reached the end of our journey today, but for you, this is just the beginning. The truth has been revealed. The power to alter your reality was never in your external circumstances, but in the quality of your consciousness and the focus of your attention. You are not a victim of fate. You are the co-creator, the artist before a blank canvas. The question now is not if you can change your life, but when you will decide to begin. So, I'll leave you with a few questions to take with you. What was the secret mental habit you identified in yourself during our conversation? What will be the first weed you commit to pulling from your mental garden starting today? What small practice of mental hygiene or meditation can you implement in the next 7 days to start raising your vibration? True transformation doesn't require a giant leap, just the first conscious step. If this conversation resonated with you, show your support by leaving a like and share here in the comments. What was your biggest aha moment today? To continue this journey and go even deeper, subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. By doing so, you officially join our community of conscious co-creators. Remember, the universe is always responding. Make sure it's hearing the best and most authentic version of you.